You're right, lads and lasses, JackOps here, and welcome back to another episode of Storytime with JackOps. In this episode, I'm going to be telling you about an argument I had with some vegans on Facebook. This happened recently and I thought it was worth sharing with you lot. I commented on a video about a vegan inspiring young people about the vegan diet. This was about the fifth thing which I saw was vegan related on my newsfeed. The previous vegan comments which I saw in the past were about bashing meat eaters and making them feel bad. So then I decided to express my feelings about how I feel about vegans bashing meat eaters on this video. So let's just say I did get a few replies. So what I commented was, the amount of criticism I've seen from vegans towards meat eaters is horrendous. If anything is healthy, it's certainly not their cancerous community. I'm not referring to all vegans, just the ones who are smug and think they're better than everyone else. Then lo and behold, somebody called Hillary replies by saying, "Then please take your comment elsewhere because it absolutely does not belong here. This young woman is lovely and just trying to help people. Even people like you show such disdain for her because of her diet. Please watch the whole video and consider taking down your comment. It's not helpful." Despite the fact that I did watch the entire video, and that's the reason why I replied. So then I replied by saying, "I just don't like how some vegans are so smug about their diet. I'll keep the comment up." Then somebody called Aura replies, "Veganism is not a diet. First educate yourself about veganism and maybe you can bash it if you have any logical arguments against it, Jack." Now I reply by saying, "Tell me then, what is veganism? Because last time I heard it was a diet and not like a religion or something like that." And then lo and behold somebody else replies, called Colin, by saying, "It's absolutely possible to get everything we need without animal products. If you're against needless animal cruelty, please consider not supporting needless animal cruelty." But yeah, this guy just comes in out of absolutely nowhere, not really arguing against me. Well, to start with anyhow, just continue watching the video and you will see an argument with me against Colin later. And I reply by saying, "There's a little something called the food chain. That's how every apex predator, including humans, rose to the top of it. Those at the bottom or near it, unfortunately, are hunted for the sake of the survival of the next animal. All the way up to the top, unfortunately, life is cruel. It's just nature." Had to use a bit of science there. Then somebody else called Liz replies by saying, "Jack, may I see your claws that you used to tackle and hang on to the bodies of animals that you're ripping open with your fangs? When you can do that and eat the body raw with no utensils or seasoning every day of your life, then talk about the top of the food chain." Then Aura again replies, "The food chain doesn't mandate eating meat for humans. It says we can eat meat, but that doesn't mean we have to. The modern society is far from being natural. What happens in these industries is not nature. It's humans who torment and commodify other species, artificially breeding animals which require much more resources than growing crops. It's not natural. The only chain we are a part of supermarket chains." Which, to be fair, she did have a point there. Then somebody else called Renetta replies by saying, "Some people are vegan because they have an allergy, dietary restriction, or for religious purposes." Then somebody else called Jennifer replies by saying, "Jack, veganism is a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practical, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose." Weird use of grammar there. I reply by saying, "Aura, fair enough, you have a point there. Selective breeding can be harsh." I think that's the only lass that had a point against me in this argument. So then I replied to all three of these people, starting with Renata. "Muslims can't eat pork and Hindus can't eat beef. However, both can still consume other meats like chicken, lamb, duck and turkey. It's still important to have meat in your diet, just eat it in moderation and switch to low-fat alternatives. For example, grilled chicken breasts or turkey. Plus, since when could you get an allergy to meat?" And then I replied to Liz by saying, "What the fuck does the way I eat meat have to do with what I just said?" And there's a little cat gif there scraping its claws as a sarcastic reply to a previous comment. Then I replied to Jennifer by saying, "I'm fine with the fact that you're vegan. I just don't like the fact that I see something to do with veganism on about 20% of my newsfeed. I also don't like the fact how some vegans are smug and they brag about their diet." Somebody else called Clarissa, I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing that right or wrong, I'm not too sure, I'm just going to call her Clarissa for the sake of this video, replies by saying, "Jack, you call vegans smug about their diet, yet keep the 'I am an apex predator, I can do what I want' animals attitude. Guess what, humans aren't even at the top, we aren't even the apex predators," and she just sends us a link to some bullshit article. "Veganism is a lifestyle, not a diet. WFPB, whole food plant-based, is a diet." Then I replied to her by saying, "Clarissa, if that article is true, how comes humans have an overpopulation problem? Why do we live in or near towns and cities Why have over 300 species died because of humans? Why do we humans only need to consider other hostile humans a threat instead of animals? Why do we live differently compared to other animals? That's because the human is an apex predator. We are at the top of the food chain and very rarely eaten by other animals. That article is a load of shit. Also, I only said some vegans are smug. Not all of you are. Sit down and think what you're about to say before you reply to my comment. I was really proud of that reply, by the way. Then Colin comes out of the shadows and replies by saying, Jack, are you against needless animal cruelty? Which he kind of already said before. And I do reply, by the way, just continue watching the video. And this is where the argument between me and Colin really starts. So then I say to Colin, I quite like the sound of the idea, but I also quite like a bacon sarnie, to be honest. I mean, who in Britain doesn't? And Colin replies by saying, if someone had a dog fighting tournament, would you think it was justified as long as the person enjoyed it? Is animal cruelty okay as long as the perpetrator likes it? And I reply by saying, obviously no, it isn't okay. He replies by saying, if you think needless animal cruelty isn't okay, do you think it would make sense to not support it? Is he trying to use psychology here? I'm not really too sure. But anyway, I reply by saying, it depends. If it's for entertainment purposes, I don't support. However, slaughtering animals for food, that needs to happen. And he replies by saying, why does it need to happen if it's absolutely possible to thrive without animal products? Then I reply by saying, you have to remember the majority of people prefer an omnivore diet, plants and meat. Promoting veganism or a plant-based diet isn't going to do much. Also, meat-free protein alternatives to meat taste foul. I mean, have you ever tried corn? It was fucking disgusting. And Colin, out of the blue, decides to reply, the whole world is unlikely to be ever free from racism, homophobia or sexism, but that's no reason for you to personally practice it. All anybody can do is take responsibility for themselves. The fact that other people are doing something you consider to be unethical isn't a reason for you to do the same. Fake meats aren't necessary to eat in a vegan diet, plenty more to eat than that. Then I reply by saying, since when was racism, homophobia or sexism ever mentioned here? None of them three happened. I don't consider veganism unethical at all. I didn't say that either, so there's 2 points to me. I continue replying by saying, I said I don't like vegans who are smug about their diet and the fact that they brag about it. I'm okay with vegans who aren't smug and braggy, you just made yourself look like a fool, to be honest. Well, 3 points for me now. So then Colin replies, I meant that just because lots of people do something douchey is no justification for doing it yourself. That's what I'm replying to your comment about, how most of the world consumes animal products. If you're against needless animal cruelty, then please consider not supporting needless animal cruelty. And he replies once again by saying, also the reason vegans talk so damn much about veganism is because they're passionate about the issue and really want to lessen how much animal cruelty takes place. Though some may do it to differentiate themselves and to brag, I think the overwhelming majority of vegans are doing it so far for selfless reasons. So then I replied to Colin by saying, a lot of people find their passion or bragging annoying, including myself. It's okay to be passionate, just share it with others who value your opinion. You have to remember, veganism is only a minority in this world. And then Colin replies by saying, how are we supposed to know who values our opinion without sharing what opinion it is? To be fair, I did kind of have a point there, but I do reply. I'm sorry it's uncomfortable for you, but I think your discomfort on the matter is extremely insignificant to the terror that animals go through. I'm aware veganism is a minority. Are you against needless animal cruelty? Do you agree that it's silly to support what you're against? And I reply by saying, also, why do you keep repeating that last question when I've already answered it? Then I reply again by saying, just share your opinion every now and then instead of spamming us with veganism and its benefits like some of these food pages seem to be doing. And he replies by saying, sorry, I'm doing many comments at once. Since you're against needless animal cruelty, please consider no longer supporting it. And I reply by saying, if it involves giving up meat, then no. Then Colin replies by saying, I hope one day you eventually act in line with your morals. Peace. Oh my god, I never knew that I never lived in a free country. I never knew that I couldn't eat meat. Colin, just get a bloody grip, man. Anyway guys, that's all I have time for today. If you've enjoyed the story video, please be sure to like and subscribe. This is JackOps, signing off.